What's up guys, it's Storm here and welcome back to my channel. This is my final Crazen video, as you may have seen in my past video on this situation, or previous video on this situation. I essentially said that I'll make one more video about Crazen, and some new stuff has come up once again. Not the stuff that, you would usually hear from about Crazen, like him doing it again. No, this is like about him being hacked and stuff, but we'll get in that later. Right now, let's get off the intro and start to talk about why are people still defending him, and I'm going to be dismantling people's arguments and just showing how fucking ridiculous they are. So, first things first, let's look at this guy named Joe Jester, who starts off his argument with a blatant insult with, "Wow, you have a lot of subscribers for someone who's brain dead." Yeah. I'm brain dead for presenting evidence in my video that actually backs up my statements. Real funny. And then he continues to insult people by saying, "At Alex, alright, fucktard." And then he replies to a person named William Denny Student, and he tries to say that the only bad thing he did was nerfing levels and being a toxic person. I don't see how he was one of the worst people. I consider Alan one of the worst people I've heard in the fucking community, because she ruined Crazen's life and refuses to help him out of the situation. Well, he doesn't deserve to be helped out of the situation, shitstain. He doesn't. He's the one who did it. She didn't know what was happening. She was manipulated and confused. You can't blame her in this circumstance. And typically it's innocent until proven guilty. Well, guess what? Crazen's been proven guilty. There's no changing that. Continuing, he also responds to William Denny Student with saying, "Crazen didn't force anything. She made the decision to give consent out of her own free will. If it was unwanted, then she would have said no. Every time anyone said no, Crazen didn't do anything besides, she didn't think it was bad until people told her that it was, therefore changing their perception on what actually happened. This means that everything was perfectly fine, and Alien and Crazen's victims are fucking idiots who manipulated the situation." No, because Crazen was the one who was manipulating people for his own sadistic pleasure at this point. And I know I sound unenthusiastic right now. It's just because I'm tired of the situation and I just want to be over with it. Anyways, moving on. He also responds again to him by saying it's to whatever this other guy said. He's like, William Denny probably said something about to him, and then he's like, "It's called a mob mentality. If a group of people hate someone, more people are inclined to act the same way. People were angry in the first place because they didn't know what to think about the situation. They hear that someone's forced someone to do something sexual and that they were older. So what is the community's collective response? Calling Crazen a pedophile and saying that he's manipulating minors to do what he wants, when in fact he and someone younger than him did sexual interaction consensually. Hell, people don't even take the time to get their facts straight about the situation. They say that Crazen groomed someone while not knowing the definition of grooming. People honestly see, hate, and join in, while calling the victim and Crazen a multitude of names that aren't actually true." Well, listen to me here. Yes, I know the meaning of grooming. It's preparing a person for sexual intercourse over the internet. That's what grooming is. And he was doing that, or at least the borderline of doing that. I don't know if they were close to each other or something in real life, but if they were, then it was probably undoubtedly grooming. And if it wasn't that and they didn't know where they lived, then it's like borderline grooming, but without one part of it, and I still consider it that. And then he said, "I also skimmed over the definition of mob mentality, but you should be able to get the gist of it." I do agree with the mob mentality thing, and sometimes it's justified and other times it's not. Now, what I would like to say is that both sides have their flaws. I stand with the community. We don't need Crazen in here. And the reason that we're ousting him and we don't want him here is because it will give the community a bad reputation. It will give people the perception that we allow people like this to be in our community, people who are predators, groomers, etc. That people will look down on our community for that, and it would ruin our reputation, and the game would die off as more and more players found out about this, and the outside gaming community starts making videos on it, if they did find out. That's the worry of the community, and why we get so pissed off at people like Crazen. And the mob mentality, I get it's bad in some cases, and in fact a lot of it's, like, if you go back to Buff This and watch C1997's video about it, basically, the mob mentality around that was so stupid and just dumbfounded. But this isn't a dumbfounded mob mentality. This is a very well-founded mob mentality. And what this person is doing is ignoring the evidence presented in the video that Crazen clearly was desperately trying to do sexual things online with these minors. He tried manipulating them. He used things they forgot as excuses. I don't know what else he did. Probably bribed him or something. Yeah, Crazen gives his credit card to child for sex. That'd be hilarious, but not right. But if that was a headline, I would laugh. Anyways, moving on from Joestar, we have Veo, who says, what you fail to realize is Crazen is also a minor, LMFO, bullshit. It's not like he's picking up 8-year-olds, bro. You see, the thing is, in my previous video, I clearly stated, you can watch the entire thing and literally find, I clearly said that he is technically a minor. But the thing is, he's about to turn 8 years old, if not, and if he's not, if not already. But the thing is, it's still not right. Because he's manipulating people who are like 6th grade elementary students and 6th grade middle schoolers and 7th grade middle school, like that, around that age group, and he would be a junior going into senior year. That's what I pointed out and how fucked up that was. And a big part of my decision and why I think that's wrong is not the age necessarily. I do think it is a little weird, but the big part of it is that the development of the person. A 6th to 7th grader does not know the same amount as a 17 to 18-year-old. Perhaps even a 16-year-old. Like, they don't know as much. They're not as mature. They're likely to be more impulsive, easily manipulated, naive. That's why I took up for the victims in this situation, because they deserve the sympathy, and they're young enough to where they could be considered, where they wouldn't understand it, basically. That's an overall problem. Children don't understand how to respond to this and often get caught up in manipulation and their own naiveness, which sometimes they can't help. It's probably because of their innocence. And, it's a sad reality. Continuing on with Veo, he says to true kindseter, you can't force someone to do anything over the internet, LMFAO. He spelled that wrong. It's LMAFO. These women are just sped letting this angsty 17-year-old getting them to do what he wants. Clearly, this person didn't understand the psychology of the situation. And he responds again to True Kind Stir. Cyber harassment isn't a thing. When you can turn off your computer and go enjoy the real world. And I never said it was fine, but Crazen is a minor trying to get girls only years apart, like seniors pick up freshmen all the time, IRL. Excuse me. Yeah, that is true. Freshmen and seniors do get together quite a bit. I've seen it in my own school, but the problem is that it's not even in his own school. It's online. He's using these scummy tactics to get to them, and plus it's like years apart. It's nearly 4.5 years older than them. It's wrong, or something like that, like 4 to 4.5. That's what I estimated. And Crazen, and I asked him this question right afterward. Here we go. I said, at Veo, I'm tired of people arguing here, so I'm just going to settle this with a simple and very good question, because you clearly didn't watch the video. Do you honestly think that Crazen would stop this kind of shit with minors, significantly younger than him, when he turns 18 years old? And yes, I did realize he's still technically a minor, but the reality is I don't think he'll stop when he becomes a legal adult, and I will call him what I please because his actions speak louder than his words, and his personality and the way he's responded to this only further reinforces the idea. Stop blatantly insulting people in the comments section and instigating arguments, etc. It's not going to get you anywhere. And he responds by just saying, it's a comment section, bro. You're supposed to discuss here, actually, smooth brain. So, the typical insult to someone who doesn't know how to fight back against a good argument. And he calls me smooth brain because it's a comment section. I get it's a comment section. They can be quite cancerous. But it doesn't mean it's right to instigate arguments to like 30,000 people. I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. Instigating arguments doesn't get you anywhere. You can debate politely and disagree with people instead of just, blatantly insulting them by saying like fucktard, smooth brain, etc. Just all out retarded shit. Anyways, he continues by responding to El Scrubbo. Bro, do you act like I care, LMFAO? I ain't never bending the knee to you 8-year-olds like you. That's not how the world works, buddy. Go cry some more. Like we're some fucking leftist liberals. Like, this dude is literally just trying to instigate arguments and to provoke people. He's just insulting them. And El Scrubbo responds with, alright, man, you do you, middle finger, winky face. And he's just like, you mad? And Veo, that insult was almost as smooth as your argument. Pff, yeah. El Scrubbo he responds to El Scrubbo, you mad? And then Alex is like, go fucking leave your Misbo Crazen fanboy, leave the fucking video, never come back. And he never responded after that. So yeah, that's a fuckfest of comment section right there. Luckily, there wasn't many of them, like 2, 3, maybe 4. Yeah, so that was that. And funnily enough, if we go back to Joe Joestar, you want to know something funny? And I actually have a little bit of a theory about this. If you click on Joe Joestar, his profile, it says joined 1 week ago. And when I looked at this was like when his account was 3 days old. I literally think there are people who are talking to Crazen, or Crazen himself maybe, who fucking knows, who are like creating alt accounts just to spread anger and hatred towards me for no fucking reason, even though my argument is pretty damn just and it's way, way stronger and supported by a lot more evidence than what Crazen could ever put up. And now we get on to the next section of the video, which was Crazen was hacked on Geometry Dash. A lot of people know about this, but many don't. And if you go to Geometry Dash and look up Crazen right now, originally there was a lot of messages about him liking children, etc. Let me get him up here. So there was a lot of messaging about Crazen liking children on his profile pic because someone had hacked him. But now what's happened is that Crazen lost all of his messages. You click on comments, there's none there. His levels, there's none there. His stats remained, and that's it. Like that, that's crazy. I mean, now this is the part where I get a little bit more pissed off at my own side. I get people are telling him the things he should hear, which is like, you shouldn't be doing this, is incredibly wrong, and it's not going to be allowed sooner or later, and you're going to get kicked out of the community. Like, all that stuff's true. But what I hate is the toxic part of the good side. They tell him to kill himself because they're fighting for a good argument. They're fighting for a common goal, like a good goal, but they're executing it wrongly. They're telling him to kill himself, die, never come back, etc. And hacking his profile is one thing that is severely going to diminish the reputation of the people who were just trying to get justice for the people who were victims to him. And it makes you look bad. That's the thing. People on either side can make you look terrible. The only time this time was that Crazen looked a hell of a lot more bad than our side. However, there's still people who make us look like fools. And that's all for that. And finally, I'm going to do my outro now. Isn't that surprising? So, I'm going to explain how thankful I am. the videos that I made about Crazen were super successful for my channel size. Total view count for the first and second videos combined was 12.5 thousand views. And the likes both of them received together is 782 as of right now, and only 29 dislikes. So, you know, I got relatively positive reception, and mostly in the comments too. And also, I got a comment from Wio Tio, the legend himself. Goddamn, I'm happy. But that's all for now, guys. And one more thing, I'm going to let you know about the future since I'm done with this drama. So, first things first, yes, I will still do commentary videos about Geometry Dash drama if it ever comes up. But the good way to let me know about this kind of stuff is to follow my Twitter and tweet at me about it. So, you go to my main channel, the main part of my channel that you see, and you'll see my Twitter, which is at the mysterious U2 on Twitter, and you can find me and follow me up and tweet at me or personally message me about some drama, and I'll take a look at it. If it's foolish, I'm not going to do it, but if it's like really relevant, yes. And as well as my future, well, I'm going to be starting my series on World War II. I'm going for an all-out completionist playthrough of that campaign. Gonna do all that, videos on each, the mementos, everything, zombies, all of it, all the DLC, everything. I'm gonna do it all because I want to challenge myself and I want to finish that chapter in my life. World War II means a lot to me. It's how I met my friend James on Christmas Day. He was a Christmas present to me. If you're watching this, James, I'm thankful you became my friend. And yeah, I want to finish that chapter in my life so I can move on from it happily. Kind of like Riot wants to. That's all for this video, guys. This has been your host, Storm, and goodbye.